Now, there was a time, up until very recently, in which being mega rich, being one of the elite wealthy on earth, one of the 1% or the 1% of 1%, i.e. 0.1%, would mean that automatically you felt you had an obligation to society. It would mean in almost all cases that you would be donating money on a regular basis to libraries, to galleries, to museums. You'd be opening them in your name perhaps, but you'd also be donating to a wide array of causes, including other philanthropic causes, sending money to charities, to the poor, spending it around the world. Now, often, for the hyper-wealthy, there's a catalogue of things that they have contributed to. Hospitals, schools, gardens, parks, communities throughout will have benefited in a number of ways from their largesse because they simply realised that they had more money than they could ever spend, and so they have a duty to share some with others. Musk is almost unique in that respect, in that he has never done anything like that. And yet he has so much money that if each of us earned $1 million a year, it would take us 2,000 years. We'd have to go back to before Christ to earn that money every year before we got as much money as he did. So no one can ever spend that kind of money. This is why people with that level of wealth don't spend it all on themselves, don't hoard it for themselves, they give it to other people. Now, this contrast is drawn most sharply when we compare the current richest man in the world to the former richest man in the world, i.e. compare Musk and his behaviour to Bill Gates and his behaviour. And I'm going to do that and go through some detail in this comparison just after a quick word about the channel. I hope you're enjoying the video. As a psychiatrist who's fascinated by the worlds of politics and economics and philosophy, I love making these videos, and if you'd like to see more of them, then please do like and subscribe and comment in this video. What you'll find is that there's a beautiful community growing up around this channel. We're all going through a national and international trauma right now because of what's happening and where our leaders are taking us. And in this channel, you'll find people honestly sharing their situation and their distress, and other people responding with kindness, empathy, and compassion. So please join this wonderful community that we're forming, join in the comments and the dialogue that's happening. Now, the behaviour of Musk and Gates could not be more different. You see, what's happened here is that Musk obviously has donated hundreds of millions of dollars to Trump's campaign, helped him win, become a major part of his government, become more closely associated with Trump than almost anybody on earth. Gates, on the other hand, has been rushing in the other direction. He hasn't done anything to support Donald Trump. Furthermore, he's also disassociated himself from anybody who has any association themselves with Trump. So, for example, Microsoft's lawyers used to be a company called Simpson Thacher. And what they did is that Simpson Thacher started to capitulate to Trump. Trump was pushing them around because they did things for companies and people he didn't like. And so they decided to follow completely all of Trump's orders and agree after that to give over $100 million of free legal support to Trump on a pro bono basis. So they've completely capitulated and they're giving their services to him for free. What Microsoft then said is that this company, Simpson Thacher, isn't any company we want to deal with anymore. So they basically fired them. And instead, they went ahead and hired a company called Jenner Block. And Jenner Block has been a company that have done the opposite. They've joined the resistance of lawyers who are refusing to capitulate to Trump's bullying and instead supporting companies that are being victimized by him. So Microsoft changed its legal representation from Simpson Thacher to Jenner Block, from the pro-Trump guys to the anti-Trump guys. So determined were they to keep a distance from themselves and Trump and to have nothing to do not only with Trump's administration, but nothing to do with anybody who has anything to do with Trump's administration. Now, of course, we look at the work that Bill Gates has done around the world, his charitable work, the amount of work he's done for malaria, for struggling and developing countries, and how much difference he has made with his contribution. Well, what he announced recently is that he is going to put his foot down on the gas in that work and accelerate it even further. Because what he said is that over the next 20 years, before he dies, he wants to make sure he's given away 99% of his entire fortune. Because of course, he has more money than him or his children or his grandchildren could ever spend, and he only needs about 1% of it. So the rest of it he's going to give away, and he's set himself a target. He's going to give away 99% of it within the next 20 years, which means he's going to be giving away a lot more. He kind of figured that at this rate, he's likely to die with a lot of his fortune unspent. So he's now going to go out of his way and spend it. And then once he's spent it all, the Gates Foundation will finally shut down, having achieved its mission. But what a mission it will have achieved by then. How many countless millions and millions of lives will it have saved by that point? Now, Gates is in a better position than any human being on earth to cast judgment on Elon Musk. Because as I say, Gates used to be the richest man in the world, and he's rapidly giving away his fortune, and Musk is now the richest man in the world. So they are, in as much a respect as is possible, peers. And this is the judgment that Gates has clearly made against Musk.
Gates wrote in a blog post Thursday, "People will say a lot of things about me when I die, but I am determined that he died rich will not be one of them. There are too many urgent problems to solve for me to hold on to resources that could be used to help people."
Gates also took shots at Elon Musk, saying Doge is killing children through U.S. aid cuts. He told Financial Times, quote, "The picture of the world's richest man killing the world's poorest children is not a pretty one." Gates also cited the grants that Musk canceled in Gaza and Mozambique. "I'd love for him to go in and meet the children that have now been infected with HIV because he cut that money."
Now, Musk responded on Twitter by saying simply 3 words, "Gates is a liar." Well, that's 4 words. But the truth is that we know who has the greatest challenge with truth here. For example, let's remember what Musk said about USAID. He said that they were wasting money by buying condoms for Gazans. They were wasting money by buying condoms and sending them over to Gaza. Now, almost everybody knew that this was rubbish at the time, but he made that statement in a bold-faced way, and all of his tens of millions of followers believed him. I actually had somebody on my Facebook account, a sort of friend of some kind, who then messaged me, and because I was talking about how disgraceful it was that USAID was being shut down, something that does so much good for so many people around the world. And he said, "You must be joking. You seriously saying that an organization that spends money on condoms for Gazans should be saved?" And I was like, I'm amazed that you believe that. And even subsequently, Elon Musk was then asked about it when he gave that big performance in the Oval Office next to Trump. He was asked about that statement, which had been debunked and found to be completely untrue. And he was asked to his face, "What about that statement you made?" And he simply said, "Oh yes, I was wrong about that. I'm not always right about those things. Haha." And that was it. He just brushed it off. No apology, no retraction, no statement of contrition to the people of Gaza or to USAID for besmirching all of them. Nothing like that. To him, it's just a game. To him, the whole world is just a game. You see, people who know him describe how he sees the world as basically a computer game. And he sees himself as Ready Player One, the person doing all the action, and everybody else are kind of pretend figures that he plays with. We are all, the whole world is all, his playthings. In other words, he's not a serious person. And this is where we see the fundamental distinction between Gates and Musk. You see, Musk is not a serious person. He sees the world as a game, as his plaything. He doesn't take people seriously. This is why he lacks empathy, because he doesn't believe that anybody is real except him. Whereas Gates takes the world seriously. He sees the troubles of the world and he empathizes with it because he knows they're real. He knows these are real human beings engaging in real suffering, and there's something he can do about it, so he will. Whereas Musk just doesn't see the world as real at all. They have 2 fundamentally different perspectives on life. One sees it for the reality that it is, and the other one just sees it like a computer game he's in. Now, the other fundamental difference between them is that actually only one of them is in fact a nerd, and that's Gates. You see, the fundamental characteristic of a nerd is somebody who enjoys rolling their sleeves up, getting stuck in and solving a problem. And that's how Gates has dealt with all of the challenges in his life. He came across the issue of how processors were working in computers and the way in which they weren't very user-friendly. It wasn't easy for somebody who wasn't themselves a nerd to use these things. So he started to create a framework, a window that enabled people to negotiate these computers using icons and making it very simple. He solved one of the biggest problems on Earth. And he put his mind to it, and he worked together with his other tech friends and made a solution. And then when he made all of this massive pile of cash, he realized that actually there's a lot more problems I can solve. There's malaria in the third world, there's starvation, there's poverty. there's malnutrition, there's illiteracy. I can do things about all these problems. So he rolled his sleeves up and started to distribute his money in a way that would maximize the outcome for all of these problems in the world and start to find solutions for them. So Gates is fundamentally a solution finder. He's a problem solver. He's a nerd. He puts his mind to things and tries to solve them. Musk is none of those things. He's not actually someone with a technical mindset. He's not even an engineer. He's not someone that's really interested in finding solutions to anything. He's fundamentally someone who seeks attention. And that's the fundamental difference. You see, when Musk created one of the first luxury electric cars, lots of people on the left, myself included, thought, okay, this is a guy who's finding a solution to a major problem. The climate crisis needs a solution, and cars like Tesla are the solution. And we thought that actually he's a guy with a good technical mindset who's coming up with solutions to a major problem. Unfortunately, that wasn't what he was doing. You see, he was preaching to a group of people in order to gain their attention. And he was raised up and appreciated by the progressive community for years and years. But then he found an even bigger community who he could get even more support from, even more adulation from, even more attention from than the left, which was MAGA and the right. And he even started to make statements denying climate change and saying it was overblown. This is the guy who said his whole raison d'etre was to tackle climate change and do things and make solutions to it. But then he abandoned all of that and decided that that wasn't the problem after all. So fundamentally, Musk was never really about doing what nerds do, which is finding solutions to problems. He was about finding a solution to only one problem, and that is the problem of how much attention he can get, because there's no limit to how much he wants, just like Trump. That's why they're aligned so much. Gates, on the other hand, is a genuine nerd who's all about finding solutions to problems that he's found in the tech world, but also problems that he's found across the globe with suffering that he's trying to alleviate. And as I say, there is no one better in this world able to cast judgment on Elon Musk and what he's doing with his money and with his power. And the words that he has spoken are so powerful, the judgment that he has cast is so clear-cut that without doubt they will reverberate throughout history as people remember who both these men are and what they did with their wealth and with their lives. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope we can stay in touch so that you can continue receiving my videos and my content on an ongoing basis. The best way to do that is to follow the link in the description of this video and the description of the channel. And once you do that, you'll be able to complete a form that helps you to sign up to my regular email newsletter. That way you can receive updates about my content on an ongoing basis. You see, in this day and age, almost all the platforms are owned by a small number of oligarchs, and at any moment, based on a whim, they could decide to shut down a channel like this. And if they do, then we'll lose all the subscribers. So I've set up this email newsletter as almost as a safeguard, so that we can always stay in touch whatever happens to the platform, so you can always find out where to locate and view my content. Now, on top of that, I've started to produce with my team some regular ebooks around self-help to help us in this difficult time through this kind of global trauma that we're all going through at the moment. Now, the books are based on helping people to understand the psychology of the leaders around us, the psychology of the system that we're in, but also helping to understand ourselves too, so that we're better equipped to navigate this world and navigate this difficult time. If you go to russellsbooks.com, you'll be able to find a growing catalogue of self-help ebooks there. That's russellsbooks.com. Now finally, you can also join and become a member of this channel. If you just press join on the channel page, you can become a member, and all members actually get all of these ebooks for free. I'm going to produce roughly one a month, and you'll get them all for free if you become a channel member. You can also get things like priority responses to comments, and you can get a members only chat page within the sort of members section as well. So I hope you might consider joining as a member, but either way, on any of these levels, through buying the books or through signing up for the newsletter, we can stay in touch and keep this connection going. Work our own way through this period that we're in, so that we can ultimately create a better tomorrow together. Thank you.